Morning, ladies and gentlemen of the media, and welcome to another daily press brief hosted by the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service for Tuesday, 6 March 2012. I am Sergeant Wade Meister, Public Information Officer. I will now proceed to give you some information. In the Southern Division, a progress-rear larceny motor vehicle, the facts are, on Wednesday, 22nd February 2012, a report of larceny motor vehicle was made to the San Fernando CID. The victim reported that he parked his black Nissan B12 motor vehicle, valued $20,000 on St. Vincent Street, San Fernando, at 7 a.m. and upon checking around 7:45 p.m. the said day, he discovered the vehicle missing. Constable Lezama of the San Fernando CID, together with the South Operational Unit, conducted extensive inquiries, which led to the arrest of a 25-year-old male security officer of Brighton Cato Road, Gonzales Village, Point Fortin, and they recovered the said vehicle. Extensive inquiries were conducted by officers of the San Fernando CID and South Operational Unit, where 5 other vehicles stolen between the 22nd of May 2011 and the 22nd of February 2012. The man was charged for 6 counts of larceny motor vehicle from various locations in the Southern Division. And in the Eastern Division, around 9:15 a.m. on Sunday, 4th March 2012, police officers of the Matura Police Station, acting on information received, had cause to stop a grey panel van with 2 male occupants, which was proceeding along the Toko Main Road. A search was carried out of the vehicle, and a green-colored knapsack containing 2.6 kilograms of marijuana with an estimated value of $26,000 was found in possession of one of the occupants, a 48-year-old farmer of Matura. He was arrested and charged for the offense by Police Constable Pope of the Matura Police Station. And yes, this is some advisories. Yesterday we started a series in relation to missing persons, whereby I gave some tips yesterday, where it has been reported persons who were missing, and after extensive inquiries, we would realize that these persons ran away from home for more than one reason. And yesterday I actually indicated that parents should be a little more responsible in relation to monitoring their children's movement. And one of the tips that we gave yesterday was having establish a communication with the school teachers, form teachers, and to get a feedback as to the child's attendance at school. Because we indicated yesterday that persons will dress for school, will be dropped to school by the various drivers, but never reach inside the school. So we're asking parents to monitor that. The second tip we want to give in relation to that is that we want parents to establish a reporting system with their children. Have your children check in with you every now and then, at certain times, probably lunchtime, during breaks. And even out of school, get into the habit of having your children developing a reporting system. Call you, indicate your location, or the parents can call them and inquire of their location. And that is part of using that monitoring system to know the whereabouts of your children. As the week go along, we'll continue to give more tips in relation to persons who would have run away from home. Secondly, we want to advise the public. From time to time, we ask the public to cooperate with us, to partner with us in the view of reducing crime and enhancing security and safety. And part of that is to ensure that there's a good communication with members of the public. We have had instances where police officers, sometimes while in the execution of their duty, it is made difficult for them to execute their duty in a professional manner. And that is because of persons who may not be as compliant as they ought to be and be cooperative. So with that, we are asking persons that there's the offense of obstructing a police officer whilst in the execution of his or her duty is a very, very important, or it's an offense that we take in a manner that is very, very, very important. I want to quote from the Police Service Act 2006, Section 59, and it simply states, a person who assaults, obstructs, or resists a police officer in the execution of his or her duty, or aids or incites another person so to assault, obstruct, or resist a police officer, or a person assisting the police officer in the execution of his duty is liable to summary conviction to a fine of $10,000 and imprisonment for 2 years. So sometimes police officers will be faced with a situation where they will have to detain somebody lawfully. That's one example I'm using. And we have other persons who will make it difficult for the officer to do so. We are saying that that's an offense if a person aids or incites other persons or encourage persons to resist or other activities which may cause an obstruction while the police officer is executing his or her duty. So we are asking the members of the public to please cooperate with the members of the TTPS, and all shall go well. Having said that, that is the end of this morning news brief, and I'll now open the floor for any questions that you may have.
Hi, good morning, Mr. Meister.
Good morning.
Yesterday you stated, with regard to the Digger Martin murders, that arrests were imminent. Have there been any updates in those cases?
No, not as yet. We're still gathering some important information and intelligence, and a release will be forthcoming.
You said something about children and them being able to communicate from school or something like that. In most instances, when you have most schools don't allow children to have phones on the compound.
No, I indicate for parents to have a communication system with the school, the teachers, so that they'll be able to inquire of the whereabouts of their children.
Okay, do you have any update on any of the murders within the past, or even the police shooting from Sunday night?
Second?
The police shooting. Do you have any update on that?
No, that matter. No update on that from since the last time.
Sarge, you gave a second tip today in relation to missing children. You said that the police service have been noticing a trend of late of the amount of children going missing increasing.
Not necessarily. We of course we had reports that persons were missing, and we treat that very seriously. And based on our extensive investigation, it would have been proven that the persons would have run away for some reason. So it's part of our proactive measures to enlighten the public that this is a serious offense, and we want to give some tips as to how to minimize that offense.
Running away is a serious offense. Okay, you said this is a serious offense.
We take the whole idea of the missing person as a serious offense.
Oh, okay. Specifically though with females, have you been seeing an increase in the amount of missing young girls? Or has the police service has been noticing an increase in the missing of young women?
Not necessarily, but there has been some reports which we had engaged our attention.
Do you have a number?
No.
10, 20?
No,
5 per district?
I won't have that information at hand right now.
Okay, but you'll get it for us as soon as possible.
Well, if you want to get information, okay, that's not a problem.
And going back a couple, probably 2-3 years ago, there was an allegation of children being shipped out of the country in containers. Investigations were launched into these things, and a couple of days after, we have been hearing nothing about it, and now we are seeing tips from the police service to protect your children. Firstly, what's the relation with that investigation that children are being exported out of Trinidad and Tobago?
Well, no relation actually. Actually, what I can tell you is that this information stemming from just recently, over the weekend, we had an incident where a young lady left home, and that's around 9 o'clock in the morning, and 11 o'clock in the night wasn't seen. A report was made, and based on the information that we had liaised with members of the Couva Police anti-kidnapping units, and they gave us certain information. So they just wanted us to remind the public in relation to that trend that is taking place. So that's how that came about as a proactive measure.
Morning, Sarge. Morning. Persons. I first want to piggyback on that question. In the issue of runaway children, and you speak about how serious the police is. And I mean, a number of the cases have turned up where the child either ran away by a friend or by a male companion, because most time it's a female that runs away. However, there have been cases where, as a parent or a guardian report a runaway, the police assumes that the child ran away with a man. And I've seen that happen in diverse cases, and the child ends up dead. How serious does the police service look at the issue of a runaway child? And what's, from the time a report is made, what's the next move? What's the next level of operation?
Well, most definitely, we look at it very seriously. As soon as a report is made that it's alleged that a person is missing, the report is made immediately. We treat it as a very serious thing. Our members of the anti-kidnapping unit, they are informed forthwith. And, you know, prior to some years gone by, you know, there was a saying that, you know, well, you give them some time, they will return, but we take it very seriously now. We treat it as a worst case scenario. So our members of the anti-kidnapping unit is placed on alert, and they take the investigation from there until.
What recourse does the parent have when they go to the station to make a report, and the police in a lot of cases act like, well, no big thing, we must run away to a man somewhere, that kind of thing? What recourse does the parent or the guardian have immediately to get some action?
Well, let me correct you one time. That situation don't exist. All right. The person
will, in Tobago?
It doesn't exist in the TTPS. A person will come to make a report, and I would have experienced it personally in terms of being there at a time when a report was made. As a matter of fact, that one over the weekend, I had first-hand experiences to see how the members of the Shogunas police station, firstly, it started off with a call made to 999. 999 transferred it to the district area, which was the Shogunas police, and immediately they communicated that information to the anti-kidnapping unit, who went straight into action. So those matters are dealt with in a serious manner.
Probably that's because the spokesman for the commissioner was there. But my next question. You spoke about the public having cooperation with the police. And you spoke about going to a scene and the public affecting the operations of the police. But what about cases where the police themselves, without any sort of antagonism, very hostile to the police, and decide, hey, if I want to deal with all across the board, they hit and they beat everybody and whatever, and it happens. It happened. What recourse again does the community have, and if there's no cameras around and whatnot? What immediate recourse? Because the police seems to be always right, or 95% of the times right in doing what they're doing. And there are cases, I'm not saying all the cases, but there are cases where the public or persons in the public that had nothing to do with what's happening, and they become victims. What recourse does these people have immediately?
Well, the Police Complaints Authority, that is one of the areas, that is one of the recourse that members of the public will have if they have any information that they were wronged by police officers. Of course, investigations will be carried out, but they have the option to go to the Police Complaints Authority and make the necessary reports.
Police beating me and cussing me and telling me get out of the way. How do I get his badge number and get his name? What we call, when I go to the police complaint, do I tell them, well, a police, a tall red police, dressed in grey and with 2 stripes on his arm is the man who beat man, whatnot. There is no recourse.
Well,
the police, in that scenario, they are not cooperative. They are not, no police going to tell you, I am the man who beat you, this is my badge number, my name is so and so. You're not telling her that. How do you get recourse?
I'm more certain that members of the public will have their ways in getting certain information that they will convey when they're making a report.
Okay, coming up to my last question, I need to get some information from you to understand the question. First of all, are you a member of the Police Association?
Yes, I am.
And do you support the views of the Police Association?
Pertaining
in terms of statements they would have made on various issues concerning officers and the situation with officers and the police service.
As I mentioned before in many press briefings, my opinion, my personal opinion, it doesn't matter. I have a particular function here, and my function is to give information on behalf of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. So I will not comment on that.
Okay. First, yesterday I met with the Police Association, And I had a discussion also with persons in the motor pool. Sometime last week, I asked about vehicles, rented vehicles. And you came here and you told the public, because it was carried on the public, that 62 vehicles were bought by the police service and replaced 62 rented vehicles. I initially told you, I was told it was about 300 rented vehicles. You said no, there were 62. Yesterday it was confirmed it was 320 vehicles have been removed. And the only vehicles that they could have come for new vehicles are 39 new vehicles. 2 that have gone to the Prime Minister's detail, 2 have gone to the President's detail, 2 have gone to Tobago, and the rest, they are on the street. And all 39 were bought for one purpose. They were bought to work on the highways in terms of the traffic. They are not even structured, or they were imported from Australia to deal with that particular issue, right? And you keep insisting that whatever information comes from here is the right information. But the people who is in the area, working in that area, seems to have different information. Could you tell me what is the right thing? Because we seem to be misleading John public through what we get in here.
To tell you what is the right thing again?
In terms of the vehicles, because I'm getting now 320 rented vehicles were sent back. Even the persons in the motor pool who had rented vehicles, who were in charge, they had to send back their vehicles, right? And there's only 39 vehicles were received, not 62 as you said. So could you correct or tell us what is the right thing?
So you want me to tell you the correct thing?
Yeah.
Once more.
Tell me what is the right thing.
Well, I'll tell it once more. And if you want, you could go back to the previous press briefing that we had in relation to the 62 vehicles that was purchased to replace 62 rentals. And that is official communication from the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service.
And last but not least, Sarge,